Becoming a 4-H superhero treasurer requires attention to detail, accurate record keeping, and reporting where the money came from and what it was spent for. You can become a super treasurer by developing these skills. You are the keeper of the money for your club as treasurer. Your job is more than just collecting and spending money for your club. You must also keep an accurate record of all money collected and spent. You must be able to report to the club where the money came from and what it was spent for. As you know, money is important to people. Therefore, it is very important you keep a good record of the money you handle. One, when you become treasurer, you should go to the bank with the club leader to update the signature card. Clubs should have 3 to 4 officers and or leaders on the signature card, and none of them should be related. Don't spend any money without club approval. A motion to pay a bill should be passed and recorded in the minutes. Write checks for all expenditures. Do not pay bills with cash. Do not do business or by online or internet banking. Have a bill and get a receipt. Deposit all money in the bank as soon as possible. Keep club money and your own money separate. Don't use club money for yourself. There may be legal consequences if this is done. Club accounts should have 2 signatures for expenditures, checks, or withdrawals. And use the 4-H Treasurer's Record Book, 4-H 474, to keep all your records. Keep all bills and receipts and all other information. When in doubt, keep it. You can't keep too much information. Answer all questions truthfully and prepare a budget to help guide the club through the year of spending. So, one of the things as treasurer at the end of the year, you will have to go through a financial review. So, these are little things that you need to provide your financial review committee. So, you will need to give them the club budget, the treasurer's ledger report, check register, basically, your financial institute statements or your bank statements, cancel checks and deposit slips, sometimes called cancel checks, are part of your statement, receipts of all income, bills for all expenses. And then you have the club financial review committee will send the financial review report, which is in the back of your treasurer's book, to the K-State Research and Extension Office by November 1st of each year. Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about different things on treasurer, and you might not know what these are. So I'm going to give you a quick lesson on talking like a treasurer. First, a receipt. A receipt is a paper to say that you've received money or paid money. So a lot of times, you go and you get a cash register receipt for, if you're buying stuff at Walmart. If you come into the extension office and purchase things like, your photo mat boards for fair or things, you'll get a receipt that we make. It is important that as club treasurer, you make sure you have receipts for any money you receive and receipts for any bills that you paid. If you don't have, or bills at least. Expenditure is basically spending money. So that's where you actually write checks and spend the money on different things. Income. So what is income? Income is receiving money, via fundraising, donations, however your club is receiving money. And you will need to make sure they you give them a receipt for receiving that money. Deposits. That's money that you put into the bank account. So if you had a fundraising bake sale and of course you had lots of cash and maybe even checks, you would go to the bank and make a deposit slip that would put that money and basically tell the bank how much money you'd brought in, and you would put that in the account. Bank statements, those are papers that come from your bank to tell you what deposits and withdrawals you have in a set time. Usually it's about a month time frame, and you can get those mailed to you, but I know a lot of banks are charging for that right now. You would have to, you can also get them set electronically if the bank will work with you on that. You can also have them mailed here to our office if that's a preferable way to do it, and you can come and pick them up. One of the things I don't have on here, though, is also checks, and we will talk about checks here in a few minutes. So, For each 4-H meeting, what does a treasurer need to do? Well, they need to complete the monthly report, which is the page 7 to share with your club of your treasurer's book that you can download after watching this video. And then during the meeting, you want to give your treasurer's report. You present any bills received, and you make sure that the club takes action on all bills presented. After you present a bill during your report, you may move to pay that bill. So after the meeting, so as treasurer, you'll make sure you pay all bills approved by the club as soon as you can. So within the next week, definitely before they're if they have a deadline before they're due. And you want to make sure you complete the monthly record of club finances starting on page 12 of your treasurer's book. When a bill is paid, write on the bill the date it was paid and the check number, and put copies of paid bills and receipts in the 3-ring binder with your other records for your treasurer. So, as we kind of talked, at the close of the year, you're going to have a financial review committee who look over it. So when you come to September, basically, or the 1st of October, your last meeting is probably your September meeting. Your year has ended. You probably have elected a new treasurer, and you're getting ready to hand off your treasurer duties. So you want to make sure you promptly pay any bills approved at the last 4-H meeting. So your September 4-H meeting. You complete your last monthly report. You make sure to complete the yearly summary of club finances on page 24 of your treasurer's book. You ask the club to appoint a financial review committee to check your records. Some of them might already have it. Sometimes the president has to appoint one. And there is a financial review committee job description in your treasurer's book as well. Check your records. Checking your records is not an indication you have not kept careful records. It's just a safeguard against human error. Give the committee all of your records, including copies of receipts, deposit slips, receipted bills or sales slips, check stubs, canceled checks, and bank statements. The club review committee then will need a financial review report, which are on our website and also in your treasurer's book, and they must complete it and return it by November 1st to the Mayor Dezeen District Office. When the committee has checked your records, give all of your records to the next treasurer. Transfer the bank account by informing the bank who the new treasurer is and have new officers and leaders sign the new signature card. Bring a copy of the minutes from the election meeting to verify the new officers at the bank. All right, so we kind of talked about checks and that you need to pay all your bills using checks. So you might not be real familiar with checks, depending on if you guys have your own bank account, but a lot of people don't use a lot of checks anymore. So I want to kind of give you an idea of how to write a check. First thing is you want to make sure you use blue or black ink. You never erase. If you make a mistake, start a new check and write void on the old one. And you will want to keep that in your records that you voided that check. Be sure to date the check. So as you can see, February 2025, 2022 is on this check. Enter the name of the person or the store to which the check is written as close to the to the order of line as possible. So you don't want to leave room for somebody to add things to your check, and that's kind of one of the important parts of it. Do not leave any space between dollars and cents. So you can do begin everything at the extreme left. So you want to make this here. You want to make sure there's not room to add a 1 here on the 18 to make that 1887 instead of 887. When you are writing it out and you have to spell it out in dollars on the next line, you want to make sure that you do 8. And we always do cents as a fraction. So it's 87 over 100. So depending on how much cent, if it's 3 cents, it'd be 0.03 over 100. And then put a line all the way over to the dollar sign so they can't add anything to that. You do want to make sure that the written amount agrees with the numeric amount. So you want to make sure that the 887 up here agrees with the 887 and the dollar in the next line item. If a check is less than $1, write the word only and then the amount. sign the check the same way you sign the signature card at the bank. So whether that is making sure that, maybe you used your middle initial. A lot of people do. However you do that. And you always have to have a second signature from one of the other people who signed the signature card, whether that's a club leader, your president, your secretary, whoever has signed it needs to sign as well. Know where all checks, bank statements, and deposit slips are by storing them together in a secure place. And be sure to add a memo, and if paying an invoice, include the invoice number. So they obviously went and purchased stuff at Valley Hardware, and this is tools for the beekeeping project. All right, so after you've wrote a check, it's important that you also keep a check register. This is where you kind of register all your deposits, your checks that you wrote, as well as keep track of the funds. So you want to make sure you write the number of the check and the date it was written in the correct column, which is the number column over at the top. Some of them look a little bit different than this, but this is a generic one, and it'll kind of ask you. You want to make sure you put the date in the date column. You don't necessarily have to have a year, but you might start with a year at the very beginning. Write to whom, in the description of the transaction column, write to whom the check was written, enter the check amount in the payment and debit column, and then subtract the amount from the remaining balance above and enter the new balance straight across. The fee is a column to list any costs for cashing checks. So this would be if the bank had a fee of some kind that they charge you, or if they charge you a fee for mailing your bank statement to you, or that type of thing. When a deposit is made, the amount is recorded in the deposit credit column, and add this amount to your thing. So as you can see, they had a deposit on 3/17 for a bake sale, so they put $41.25 in the deposit credit. There are more practices in the book, so feel free to go through those or replay this video as you write those out for a check and keeping the check register. All right, so be sure to download the Kansas 4-H Treasure Record Book. It's available on our website, or I also have a link below this video as well. There are several practice problems that should help you develop your 4-H treasure superpowers. Keeping track of money will make you a treasurer superhero.